Hey everybody, Ian Grant here. I've decided to do this Vermont Dog Trainer show actually live on YouTube. And so you can leave your comments off to the side as well. If you have any questions though, I would love if we're going to have a Q&A segment at the end of this, but I'm going to unpack this here for a second. So I'm going to talk about some leash handling here in a couple of minutes. And then once I get through that, some real world examples of some leash lessons that I've had in the last couple of days, which is a lot of fun. And then for those of you that have worked with me, you'll know that I love using the slip leash, but there's also times when I actually don't love it. So we're going to kind of break down the pros and cons of the slip leash for that as well. And then, of course, I think it's important for everybody to understand what I do with my dogs in the morning, what my morning routine is with my dogs, how I set the stage, what my expectations are, how I roll along with them, that kind of thing. And then at the end, I'd be more than happy to take any questions that you may have, any real world questions. So I had a lesson yesterday with a longtime client of mine, young golden retriever, and just struggling a little bit on the walks. And so when we met out in public at a public path, her dog was pulling her a lot. And this is just a happy-go-lucky dog that just wants to say hi to everybody, wants to greet everybody, and have a good time. Everything's a party, and that's great. We want to nurture that, you know. We don't want to suppress that. We don't want to tell that dog you're not allowed to act that way. You're supposed to be a robot. You're not supposed to have a personality. And so I think during those times, we have to nurture it, but then we also have to create a cap, so to speak. I'm big on creating a cap for my clients and their dogs to understand how much is too much. How far can you go with your intensity, and how long you can do it for as well. And so for me, anytime somebody walks up to me with their dog on leash, uh, and this dog, and so I'd done a set of lessons with them before. I didn't do a lot of leash handling, so this was another ongoing lesson. And so for me, when that dog comes up and happy to see me and everything, the first thing that I want to do, especially, it doesn't matter what tool that you're using, you want to make sure that it's on correctly. You want to make sure that it fits correctly, and you want your dog to start having a working knowledge of it. And it may not in the beginning because it's something brand new to the dog, and that's perfectly fine. But before we do anything, because I've noticed that when clients come see me for various reasons, they want to know how to stop that unwanted reaction in that moment. And oftentimes, what gets missed is everything that goes beforehand. And then also trying to stop that reaction in that moment. The dog is usually at the most intense, whether the dog is lunging at somebody for something that they want more space, or the dog is lunging because the dog's so excited and just wants to say hi to anybody and everybody. In that moment, there's not a ton that we can do because the intensity is so high that there's not much training that can happen. And also, we can't repeat that at that level, because if we did something so powerful and so strong in that moment to get your dog to come back down out of the clouds, if you will, we can't do it again, because they're not going to go right back up again most often, unless this is like a really terrible association. And we're not going to go that deep in that kind of stuff today. And for me, I want to help dog owner understand everything that leads up to that, like a ski jump, if you will, right, or a slope. We want to start addressing things down here so that it doesn't get a chance to get this high to take off and the dog goes up into the clouds. We want things to stay down here at a working level, if you will. What I did is I grabbed the leash, put it on correctly. For those of you that work with a slip leash, it has to go high on the dog's head. That's all there is to it. It has to go behind the ears, up against the ears, and around by the jawbone. And that's where it needs to fit to be the most efficient. I think a lot of times people look at the slip leash and think it's got to fit like halfway down the neck or all the way down the neck. This is what's going to choke, is when it's halfway down the neck. When it's all the way down, then they're going to start pulling and yanking, and we don't have any strength because they just get to like sink their body and drive forward, and everything's just on their shoulders. When you place that leash all the way up high, you'll actually become more efficient. You'll need less physical strength because the dog is more sensitive there, and we're not choking the dog either. We're communicating. Okay, and there's a big difference between choking and communicating. Choking is literally sucking the air and preventing breathing. Communicating is a little pressure. The dog can still breathe, pant, yawn, drink, all that kind of stuff. But we still need to focus on that touch. So I adjusted the leash first and foremost, and then he wanted to jump on me. He just wanted to say hi, no malicious intent. And a lot of times when a dog jumps on them, they push into the dog. When we push into the dog, it actually makes them want to drive back at us harder. So I just grabbed the leash, lifted up a little bit of pressure, and it makes him want to get down. So I want him to realize when I jump, I feel pressure, but when I get back down on all fours, pressure goes away. And that's what I tried to create with him. It didn't take long. He's a young dog, so he doesn't have a ton of knowledge and experience and life experience to think this is what I do all the time. And then from there, we started walking. I got things set and we started walking. And here's the thing too, I want everybody to understand. You can put a hockey stick in a Wayne Gretzky's hands. It's going to look pretty good. You can put a football in Tom Brady's hands. It's going to look pretty good. For us trainers, we do this literally every single day, multiple times a day with multiple dogs a day. So when you put a leash in our hands, we tend to be pretty good. So our communication is that much more efficient, and our touch and our sensitivity is there. And then on top of it, we don't have a history of interactions with your dog that you have. So we don't have anything that we either need to undo or keep building on as far as when it comes to working with them. We have a tendency to just come in, teach the dog what we want, move along, like this is just what I expect. And I don't see many dogs question that when myself or I see my other trainer friends do that with a dog. Oftentimes for everyday dog owners, there's that I feel sorry for the dog and I shouldn't, we've been working on it and I just want my dog to love me and the whole thing. And so that can be hard. So when I took him and started walking him, and we were probably 100 yards in, I could feel him and the leash just kind of soften up. I'm like, we're good now. And so I handed him over. And here's the thing too, because the minute that you get ready to grab the leash in your house to take your dog for a walk is the moment that your walk has started. Doesn't matter if you're putting on your shoes, grabbing your wallet, grabbing your purse, grabbing the poop bags, grabbing your dog's collar, you've already started the walk. You have punched in. Those are the moments that count. And it doesn't matter if it's inside your house or if you've driven somewhere and you took your dog out of the car. Those are the times that it starts. And if you just buzz by that and you let your dog pull or jump out of the car and there's no structure to it, that is the state of mind that you're taking with you on the walk. So if you're getting ready and getting the collar on your dog and they're bouncing around like a Mexican jumping bean, that's what you're taking with you on the walk. And take that extra 30 seconds, take a deep breath, relax, chill, and take it slow, because the quicker you move physically, the more intense your dog actually picks up as well. So I did some walking with her and her young dog and got things under wraps, worked on her sensitivity. I have a wonderful client that meets me out in public that we use her and her big Irish Wolfhound as like the dog that I plant out there so that we can pass by. And he's a great dog. He just kind of watches every dog we've walked by. He just kind of looks at me and he's like, "Oh, got another one today, huh?" And it's pretty cool how he does that. And so that was the first lesson. So today, I had another lesson, and this dog was very different, more grumbly, growly, like seeing other dogs, has a tendency to kind of move forward with some intensity, but of course on leash, so we get to prevent that. And here's the thing that I want everybody to understand what I'm about to say. If you don't have intention during your walk, your dog has no reason to follow you. It's all there is to it. Take for an example, you're gonna go, let's say you take your dog out on a 30-foot leash and you just casually walk around your yard, your driveway, the park, and see if your dog follows you. There's a good chance they're going to actually just be sniffing around because you're not giving them a reason to follow you. You don't have any intention. Your intention is not forward movement. Your intention is to hang out and sit still. And for a lot of people, their intention is right here, like this. And the dog, you have the leash like this, and the dog just doing whatever. You see? But if we have intention in our walk, meaning that moment that you get up to go grab the collar, go grab the leash, and all the stuff you need to get ready for your walk, if you have that intention, you're setting it in motion. Today, when I was working with my client, she wanted to see me take her dog past the wolfhound first. So I did. Not much of a reaction. I felt a little tension on the leash, but seriously, manageable enough. It was just in my fingers, the adjustment, not like I have to pull hard on this dog. And then I had her do it. When I saw her walk, her energy completely shifted. And we talked about this. Her energy shifted into more, she was waiting for the blow up to happen rather than creating the intention. So my words to her were, you're waiting for anticipation and you don't have intention. So that anticipation of I'm going to see what he does while we're in the midst of this. Just want to see what he does. And here's the thing, for anybody that ever comes to me for dog training and you tell me your dog lunges, I believe you. Okay. No, nobody yet in almost 20 years of working with dogs, not one person has come to me and said, Ian, I need your help. By the way, I'm lying. My dog actually doesn't lunge. I've lied to you. I don't need to see it. Dog trainers don't need to see huge reactions. We believe you. We don't think you're going to be spending your money because you're lying to us. But everybody wants us to see that big, huge moment when in reality, it's everything that leads up to it, just like what I said earlier, everything that leads up to it that matters the most. And so I walked by, no problem, little tension, gave the leash to her, they reset, they did it again. She slowed down, her whole body language, her speed even slowed down to her walk. No set of intentions whatsoever. And this is to no fault of hers at all, by the way, either, because she hasn't had this help that she needs. And I love helping people through these kinds of moments. So I showed her the difference of what it looked like compared to what I wanted her to look like. So I wanted her to change her energy of like, have an intention you're going to walk by without any reaction for your dog. Think about what that looks like. No reaction, just moving smoothly past another dog. So she grabs a leash. Sure enough, her first try, she kills it. Absolutely kills it. Walks right on by. No problem whatsoever. And have we been walking by the same dog? Yes, that's all a part of it. So as we're sitting there talking, and they had, crossed paths once, I said, all right, this time when you guys get next to each other, stop. So you're kind of like right on the path, stop next to each other. But I told her, tell your dog what you want in that moment. If you want him to sit next to you, put him into a sit. Whatever command use you want to do in that moment, tell your dog what to do. Because as they come together, if you don't tell your dog what to do, if you don't have an intention, they're just going to come right around you and go over to the other dog. It's no different than you walking outside with a 30-foot leash and just your intention is, I'm just going to stand still when my dog moves around, which is great for a whole nother context and a whole nother setting, not when you're trying to teach your dog to walk by other dogs. In that moment, she walked up, stopped, put her dog into a sit. Her dog kind of looked around her at the other dog like that, and then straight. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. There's no gray area. This is what's acceptable. This is what you want your dog to do. Walk up, get into a sit, and I get to have a chat. So we do that. Then I tell them each to go their separate ways, reset. And so now I have the wolfhound here, and I tell her, like, walk up, and now about 6 feet away, put your dog into a sit. So now they're facing each other. We can't go to this step without the previous step being successful, because that's just jumping steps too quickly. And so this time she walks right up, puts her dog into a sit. He sits right there. No problem whatsoever. No forward movement, nothing. Like, most of the time, dogs don't question what's going on. They just want that direction. And for dogs that are anxious or stressed or whatever, once they get that sense of direction, you're going to start to see the layers of stress come off of them, like layers of an onion, if you will, the old adage. So then out of nowhere, here comes a lady with a stroller and happy-go-lucky, goofy, yellow labish, kind of almost like a cream lab around the corner. And this dog is like, oh, you know, Mr. Wiggles. And so I told her, I said, go, here's your opportunity, you know, put the dog on the right so you're in between. And that lab wanted to meet my client's dog, and they were out of range of where I could hear. I could see her dog kind of move a little bit and go by, but, you know, dogs went by, and then I had my client come back. I said, tell me what you felt, what you heard, all that kind of stuff. She goes, he growled a little bit, but he actually didn't move forward. I said, perfect. He's allowed to show his emotions as long as, again, we cap it, like what I referred to earlier. He's allowed to show his emotions. He just can't go through the ceiling and have this humongous explosion. So the grumbles are hit like, he's trying to work his way through it, and that's okay. Or he's unsure of that other dog, and that's okay. He just needed some time and practice. They both need their practice to get through this. So where am I going with these two cases, these two stories, is we have to have an intention. If you're anticipating a blow up, you're probably going to get a blow up. You will create the blow up, because if you don't have intention, your dog has no reason to follow you. Literally, no reason to follow you. If your goal is to move with your dog on a hike, on a path, on a road, and you want this to go smoothly and not be pulled all over the place, we have to have intention. More importantly, the beginning of the walk, when you're grabbing all your equipment to get your dog set up, all that needs to have intention too. Your walk has started. So chill things out a little bit during that process, because if your dog's getting cranked up to level 10 excitement, you're not only dealing with that inside the house, but you're dealing with that outside the house as well. So I hope you enjoyed that part of it, because there's a lot to unpack during those situations. But it's also, you know, owners are happy that they can do it. They felt it with their dogs. They felt it on their leash. They saw their dog and what the body language looked like, and then they're able to work through that process, that learning process. So, all right. So I want to talk a little bit about slip leashes. I am ill prepared at the moment because I meant to have one handy here with me. So slip leash can be wonderful, especially during like what I was mentioning with my two lessons. They can be wonderful when it comes to teaching, guiding, showing your dog what you want, where you want them to be, and you can be super gentle with it. The times that I don't like it is when people use them to let their dogs sniff around and pull them on the walk, because that's when it can be detrimental, not only to the walk, but actually to the dog because of how the mechanism works. And I think this is why the slip leash can get a lot of bad raps, because of the fact that it gets worked down in the throat. You hear the choking and the hacking and the coughing. You can hear it with a regular clip collar, flat collar too, you know, when a regular leash is clipped to that. But you're certainly not going to hear it as much as you would with the slip leash that's placed incorrectly. And so for me, when I mean, I'm lucky I have a fenced in backyard. I know not everybody that watches this is going to have the fenced in yard. They may be at the 25th floor of an apartment building, and they have to take their dog downstairs to go out to the bathroom, which still for me just seems like a very foreign concept. But if you need to use a slip leash, please learn how to use it, because it can be wonderful. But if you're using it just for kind of the casual time, it's probably not the best thing for you. It really isn't, because of where it needs to be placed, how it needs to be used, and the mechanics that go along with it. It's best to understand how to use it before you do start using it, because we don't want to cause any damage to a dog, mentally or physically, in any shape or manner whatsoever. So, all right, I want to break this down for you, my routine with my dogs in the morning, because I think it's important that I'm not only explaining this to everybody, but I practice what I preach as well. I am a creature of habit in the morning. I have a pretty set routine of when I do things, how I do things, and whatnot. And I think my dogs are pretty acclimated to that, if you will. I'm an early riser between 4:30, 5 o'clock. This is kind of my like me time because the rest of the house is still asleep. And that's my time to get up and exercise and do my thing and just kind of get my day started on the right track. I've been doing this, especially the working out piece, steadily for about 3 months now, and I feel great, which is good. And so that's my time. And then when I'm done with that is when I will actually then get the dogs to let them outside to go do their business, go to the bathroom, and that can take anywhere from 30 seconds if it's cold, especially with May, my little Frenchie. She's like, I'm out and then I'm coming right back in, and I'm coming in hot because it's cold outside in the morning, and her fur is about that long, which is pretty funny. So she'll come in, and then Gemma usually comes in, and then Fitz comes in. So just as much as I'm a creature of habit, my dogs are a creature of habit too. So at this point, because I take all their collars and all that stuff off at night. So at this point, now it's time for me to start putting this stuff on. This is when my walk has officially started with my dogs, just like what I was saying earlier. Your walk starts when you grab your equipment or put on your shoes, hats, gloves, whatever you have going on in that moment. So I need my dogs to come to me for the collar. I don't go to them and I don't chase them around, that kind of thing. It just I don't roll like that. So they have to come to me. I put it on and clip them. Each dog one at a time, and then from there, usually once I get that on, then I'm getting my shoes, or it's getting cooler, so I'm more like sweatshirt, maybe a hat, shoes, like I said. And during this time, and I will tell you, because I'm on it a lot, May has a tendency to want to start to play with Gemma. So I have to keep that, when I was saying at the beginning of the show, the cap on that. This is not playtime, because that playtime that's starting in here, I'm going to end up carrying that with me outside, and I don't want any part of that. I want them to enjoy their walk. Let's go for a walk, but we're not going to head out running hot. So from there, I usually grab all the slip leashes, and then same routine. I'm holding the slip leash. They need to come to me. I hold it up. Once they kind of come in and kind of lower their head a little bit, it gets put on. It gets fitted to each one of them. And then from there, I'm just making sure I have everything set before I walk out the door. And that's usually, once I'm good to go, I have all three of them on my left-hand side. It's just kind of something that's morphed into itself. There's no particular reason. Our road isn't busy. I might see one car during my walk in the morning at most. And from there, at the doorway, I open the door. Nobody's allowed to take a step forward. No forward movement, mentally or physically, when the door opens. And so door opens and then shuts behind me. I might reset the leashes, just because when we're going through a doorway, so things get tight. Reset the leashes, reset them wherever they need to be. And then from there, now we've officially started our walk. And our walk is probably about 30 minutes. So I don't have a loop, so I'm an out and back kind of guy. About 30 minutes. I'll let them have a little time to move around, dragging their leashes. If you've seen my Instagram, then you'll see times where I let them drag their leashes around me in my vicinity. So we start with structure, and then in the middle they get some free time, some exploring time. They get to go to the bathroom, sniff some different things and whatnot. And then as we get closer back to home, probably I would say half a mile or so, then the leashes go back on, and then I end with structure too. I know a lot of times people come home, and then when they get near their house, they unhook their leashes and they're like, okay, go, and it's this big reward. I don't see anything hugely wrong with that. Depends on what's going on in the rest of the walk. But in that moment, I'm still going to finish with structure. And so when I bring them all the way back in the house, shut the door, leashes come off, and then I get them a fresh bowl of water from there. So, because I know they're tired, at that moment, I know they're taken care of for now. So now I can focus on my routine. So I'm getting ready for my food for the day, lunch stuff, then probably shower, getting ready for work. Kids are doing their thing because I take them to school. And then after my shower and change, then it's time for their feeding. So feeding time is, there is no intensity whatsoever. And again, this is where May likes to just zip over to Gemma and start to lick her face, and she wiggles her butt like she's trying to like, and I know she's happy it's feeding time, but I don't need that. So I'm usually on top of that. Fitz usually comes over, tries to get closer to me when I'm preparing the food. I don't allow that either. So he needs to, I need more space from him. And so from there, um, food is ready, and then they need to be chill. That's all there is to it. And they're pretty good about it. They fit under what I allow is acceptable. Let's just say that. And so I bring their food over, I put it down for them, and they get to eat. And that's that. So when they get to eat and they do their thing, I have fulfilled them biologically, because as an animal needs to move to find food unless it's a baby. So I have fulfilled that in the morning. I've also filled their instinctual need for food and movement at the same time. So yes, dogs are domesticated, but I also want my dogs to understand, like, I'm going to help fulfill that part of them. Here's the biggie with this too. I have set the stage for the day for my dogs. That's all there is to it. These are my expectations. These are the rules. I'm going to bring you out in the world. You're going to get to sniff. You're going to get to be a dog. These are my directions and my rules for this activity. And so I get to reinforce that every single day of what my expectations are. And that helps me throughout the rest of the day provide any rules and boundaries that need to be addressed, or the playtime that we may have, or the free time that they get to have, the romp time they get to have. Regardless, I'm creating that for them. And I'm setting that tone in the morning for the day. And I think that's important to do with our dogs going forward. So like I said, if you live anywhere, there's animals around. It doesn't matter if it's squirrels, skunks, raccoons, deer, bear, moose, whatever. They're all moving to go find food. And that's what I want to do with my dogs first. We're going to move. We're going to be active first, and your food is going to follow. It doesn't make sense to me for us to feed our dogs and then take them for a walk, because it's backwards to an animal's routine, right? It's backwards. They have to go find their food, whether they're hunting for it or scavenging or grazing. They've got to do that. Once the dog is full, once they've had their activity and they've had their food, what do they do after that? Now they get to rest. And so depending on what my day looks like, my wife's day looks like, then they're home. I know they're chilling for a few hours. I'm good to go do some lessons. I know when I'm leaving them behind, they're probably sleeping, which is good. That's what I want them to do. So they're resting while I'm working, instead of them being full of energy while I'm working. And who knows what's going to happen to our house when I leave a lot of that energy behind. So super important to think about that. So if there's anything that you're learning from today, activity first, feeding second. And when you feed, make sure their body and their system has regulated back to their resting, like heart rate, if you will, not panting before you feed them, because it's super, super important. So, all right, I'm going to wrap this up. Hope you enjoyed episode 1. I'm going to try to keep these going on a regular basis for everybody, because I think I've always kind of wanted to do something like this, just haven't figured out the nuances. So this is the pilot episode of the Vermont Dog Trainer Show. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe when you get a moment, because there's going to be more of these. There's going to be a ton of information coming your way in the coming months for all things dog training. So thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. Hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you soon.